What is up, everybody? Dish won't kill my vibe. Back with another NBA talk. I promised you guys 75 NBA takes before the tip-off. So this is part number 2 of this series. And I've already done the first 15 so far, so if you haven't watched those takes, I've had a lot of interesting opinions on what I think is going to happen in the NBA season. Some good, some bad. I don't know. We'll have to find out. You know, I'll come back to you in like 9 months and see how things turned out. But, you know, hey, like I said in the last video, I love discussing things with you guys. So if there's anything that you don't agree with, or if you think I'm absolutely wrong about, hit me up in the comments. Let's talk. Let's talk about it, okay? Because I don't want to do this on Facebook anymore. I don't want to talk about all these things. So go ahead, log on to Gmail or whatever, your Google account. Search this YouTube video and start typing away and tell me why I'm wrong. So let's get straight into it. Let's talk about this next 15 takes that I have. There's some juicy ones in here, okay? Number 1, Ja Morant takes the next step and becomes a legit 25-point-per-game scorer. He takes a leap in his scoring. He's an absolute monster. There's no doubt about it that he gets voted into the All-Star break. I think he just takes the next leap into stardom. The NBA needs to do a better job advertising Ja Morant. Okay, I know Memphis is not a sexy city. I know they barely get any, TV time to begin with. But you guys have got to do something with Ja Morant. He's the most exciting basketball player. Every time he's playing, it's must-watch TV. And I think he's going to take that next step and really solidify himself as a premier guard. Like you might be talking about him in that top 5 conversation with, the Steph Currys and the Damian Lillards and etc. So very excited to see what Ja Morant does this year. And watch out for Memphis. They're going to be tough. They're going to be very tough. I think the Hornets are going to make a trade deadline move and get a former All-Star that they pair with LaMelo and possibly Gordon Hayward. I'm not sure the extent of what this deal is going to be. And, when I say former All-Star, you got to remember players like Kevin Love, who, is kind of like a shell of himself. And, Andre Drummond would be a pretty fun teammate to have for lobs from LaMelo Ball, but I think he would be a pretty good fit. So I think the Hornets might be a little active to try to push to make the playoffs. I ultimately think the Hornets are not going to make the playoffs. They're just a little too inexperienced, but I think they will get a smart piece that's going to be with LaMelo and possibly Gordon Hayward moving forward. I said in my last video, I don't think the Spurs are going to do very well this year, and I know it's not wise to bet against Greg Popovich. He always proves everybody wrong. He knows how to make everything work. And I do think, though, that the leading scorer for this team is going to be Keldon Johnson. I know he has that experience from the Team USA basketball, and that's going to rub off on him being around some elite guys. And I know like Derek White and DeJounte Murray are going to be the 2 primary ball handlers, and they might get the most shots on this team. And I like both of them, but I really like what Keldon Johnson does. He's probably going to see a uptick in his usage and the amount of shots he's going to get. He averaged like a modest 12 and 5 last year, and which might not seem like a lot, but I can see him hovering around like that 18 to 19 points per game. I also think the Spurs they need to clear house, man. Like, just get some talent. Keep Keldon Johnson, though. He's good. He's going to get you some buckets here or there, so. But you guys got to clear house, okay? Oh, here's a really spicy take, okay? And I can't believe I'm actually saying this one, but I think Anthony Davis is going to play more than 69 games this year. Why did I pick 69? I don't know. I just picked 69. But 69, I think, is a pretty high number for him, Mr. AKA break your bone and miss 20 games for no reason, type of dude. So I think he's going to, be very motivated to fight through the pain and stay healthy. I know the Lakers are going to try to shut him down, give him scheduled days off or whatever else. But I think, honestly, the bulk of this season should be mostly Anthony Davis carrying the load, with Russell Westbrook helping out, and then LeBron James, you save him for, the playoffs. Like, That's usually the best way to scatter all of these 3 minutes and, and keep everybody healthy going into the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal for a championship team like the Los Angeles Lakers. As a Philadelphia homer, this is actually one of my favorite ones. I think Shake Milton is going to be in the discussion for most improved player. Now, I don't know if he's going to win that award, in all honesty. I would love to see him win that, because I think he does have a lot of good, intangibles, and he has a good setup where he's going to be the combo guard, the lead combo guard for the Sixers until the Sixers figure out their point guard situation with the whole Ben Simmons dilemma. But I think Shake is a pretty good, fit that actually can put up solid numbers, maybe anywhere from 15 to 16 points per game, maybe 6 assists, pretty good 3-point shooting, solid defense. And I think he's also playing for a long-term contract, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. I think he needs to show out that he's actually part of this team's future, or, build up his value so that you can get something in return for him and not lose him at all. So this is going to be a good season for Shake. I don't think he's going to win Most Improved Player, but I think he's definitely going to be in the conversation. Let's talk about the Sixth Man of the Year. I think this is a award that's designed for a player like Jordan Clarkson. In Houston, if Kevin Porter Jr. wasn't starting, I think he would have the green light to shoot 1,000 times off the bench. But I think honestly, those are your safer picks. But I think what we might see from this year is that big market teams are going to see a lot of production from the sixth man. So I think this year a big market team is going to win the sixth man of the year. And I have my eye on a few players. I have Derrick Rose from New York, biggest market. I have LaMarcus Aldridge from the Nets if he's not starting, which I think they're starting Blake Griffin. So LaMarcus Aldridge has the freedom against any second unit, and I think he's the premier big man if he's healthy, given his condition, his heart condition. If he's healthy and he's giving you 20 to 25 minutes a game, I think he can average maybe 14 and 6 off the bench. It's not unreasonable. He might not start the game, but he definitely is going to finish a lot of the games for the Brooklyn Nets. Lastly, you have Los Angeles and you have Carmelo Anthony. Now, if Carmelo Anthony is buying into this whole championship mentality and LeBron tells him hey man, I'm going to rest a lot of games. I need you to step up and, let the young guys start, but you're going to finish these games. You're going to be the guy that comes off our bench. And I think it would be so cool if any one of these players who are so respected and potentially, you're looking at maybe 3 potential Hall of Famers, if they add a sixth man of the year on their resume, I think it would be so cool. I think it's just a great storyline for a lot of players that were counted out, and here they are on championship contending teams and making an impact, and they win sixth man of the year. So that's why I'm saying a big market team will win the sixth man of the year. Since I said a championship team and I was talking about New York, the Nets are, in that conversation, but I think my bold prediction, and this is a lot based on what's happened recently, but I think the New York Knicks are going to have a better season than the Brooklyn Nets. And now, before you cancel me and shut off everything right now, hear me out. I think the Knicks improved so much. Tom Thibodeau has completely changed my mentality of what he is as a coach. I thought he was a very excellent defensive coach. There's no doubt that he's a perfect X's and O's defensive guy. But I always had my concerns about him on offense. And last year, I kind of saw that they really tailored their offense to be more a modern offense. A lot of three-pointers, a lot of easy buckets. And, you have a nice culture where Julius Randle was rewarded with his best season, a great contract, an all-star appearance. And Julius Randle went from a good player to a great player, all under Tom Thibodeau. I think there's a great culture in the Knicks. And then what do? They added Kemba Walker, they added Evan Fournier, they re-signed Nerlens Noel, they kept Alec Burks, they have experience now with Emmanuel Quickley, and Obi Toppin looks like he's fantastic. He's going to be a solid role player for them. There's so much to like about the Knicks that I'm not afraid to say that the Knicks could possibly finish in the top 2 or whatever in the East. Like, I think they can, I don't think the Nets are going to finish below 4 or 5. Like, that would just be all things going off. But I think the Nets have a lot of concerns. The whole Kyrie situation's bad. They don't have Spencer Dinwiddie to bail him out as a backup point guard. They have some size, but that's a lot older. They don't really have the size that I think you might need against a Giannis or a Joel Embiid in the East, like, depending on the situation. Anthony Davis in out west, Nikola Jokic. Like, I don't know if they have that size to contend with some of these elite big men. So it's going to be very interesting. I think they're going to struggle trying to find the right balance. And given the whole Kyrie situation now, I'm actually thinking that maybe they do take a little bit of a step back, okay? Like, the Knicks are here, and I think they're going to do really well. This is all based on Derrick Rose staying healthy, Kemba Walker wanting to prove himself and show that he's not really a defensive liability, and buying into the Tom Thibodeau system. Let's see how it all works out. So triple doubles has been a category that's been, like, just not as special as it is anymore. Maybe you can blame Russell Westbrook or anybody else, Luka Doncic or anything. And I'm actually kind of curious, but I always like to see, like, the triple double is a great stat to see who's a well-rounded player. And I think this year's league leader in triple doubles is going to be LaMelo Ball. I think he's going to have to do a little bit of everything for the Hornets just to compete on a nightly basis. I know he's so unselfish. He'll get you your 10 assists. He's a great rebounder. He's 6'7", and the points are going to come too. Like, he's always going to be there. I don't know. I don't think Russell Westbrook is going to be in that position to stat pad, as they say, and I don't know if Nikola Jokic is going to. Maybe he'll be in that conversation too, but I think maybe LaMelo Ball gets over 20 triple doubles on the season. This is going to be a great season for Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's poised to have a MVP type season. Like, a lot of people are going to make an argument and say Karl Anthony Towns is the most valuable player because without him, Minnesota cannot do ish. All right, they can't do anything. That's the problem, though. He's not going to win MVP, but he's going to put up very good MVP-like numbers, like somewhere like maybe 28 a game and 13 rebounds and play great defense and just stay super motivated. And it's just unfortunate that Minnesota is just a crap team when it comes to putting the talent around him. They have, on paper, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, Josh Okogie. They have some good talent on that team. It's just not going to work because they keep changing their coaches, their GMs. He's had, I think, some crazy number, like 5 GMs in his 7 or 8 year career. And I think this is the season that Minnesota sees that Karl Anthony Towns is not the problem, and he never was. And he's going to be in that same list as Kevin Garnett and Kevin Love, that they lose a sensational big man because they weren't able to put a team around him. I know some people think maybe Minnesota is going to be there, but I just don't see it because I don't know what the system is with their coaches. I know they want to be there, but I don't know. I just don't see it. One team that was a dynasty during this era, the Warriors, who have kind of fallen off a little bit because of injuries to Klay Thompson, injuries to Steph Curry. Draymond Green was injured. They netted themselves a great high draft pick who's also injured right now. They have Andrew Wiggins on the roster, a former #1 pick overall. And I think this season, if they can stay healthy, which I think they should, and they will start getting Klay Thompson back, I think later through the season, and they can ease him into the roster and everything. But I think the Warriors are poised to have a really good season. Like, honestly, if they can finish maybe 2 or 3 in the West, I wouldn't be surprised. And this doesn't even fall on Steph Curry having to do everything for the team anymore. I think they have a lot of talent, and I think Jordan Poole is a guy that's catching a lot of people's attention recently. He's going to have a great season. He's going to be a great, spark off the bench, and I think the Warriors are going to do really good. They're going to remind everybody that, hey, we're the freaking Warriors, okay? Don't forget about us. We're a championship contender team. So the Warriors are going to have a great season. From a championship dynasty team that knows everything to a team that has all the talent like the Warriors, but just has not been able to put it together. I think the Celtics are going to be the most confusing team of this season, okay? That's not really a bold prediction because On paper, you see Jason Tatum, who can arguably be a top 10 to 15 player, depending on who you're asking. Jaylen Brown has improved every single year. He's done a great job of expanding his game to hit threes and mid-ranges and be a better playmaker, great defender, athletic as hell. And they have all the tools, but Boston is just a team that, seems like it's just a hodgepodge of different pieces, and they're just hoping that something clicks. Dennis Schroeder is your starting point guard this year. Marcus Smart might take over some of that, but neither of those guys I really think are the leader that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown need to put the Celtics into contention for a great team. They have a new head coach. They replaced Danny Ainge as the GM with Steve. They changed a lot. Okay, they changed a lot. So, the Celtics are going to be so up and down. You could see them one night beating the Lakers and looking so impressive, and then the next night they might just lose to the Sacramento Kings because they lose focus. So I think this is going to be one of those up and down seasons for Boston fans. So brace yourself, okay? Every year, teams underachieve and coaches start to get fired. You see a lot of these younger teams that really don't draft well, that don't have talent, that have injuries, and unfortunately they think that changing their coach is going to change everything. So I think there's going to be a couple of the Cavs, I think, are not in a position where they are going to make a lot of heads turn in the East. So they might get rid of their head coach as usual, try to find something new. The Pelicans, I don't know what's going on with the whole Zion situation and his injury. It just doesn't look good right now. I think out of desperation, the GM might even get fired too, because they've given him a lot of chances to try to put a team around Zion. It's just not working. And, I think that's another team to watch out that might lose their coach. I think the Hornets might end up losing their coach just because they're a young team. And this might be the point in LaMelo's career where he needs a coach that fits his timeline better than, the current coach. But it might not be his fault. It might not be Borrega's fault. I think the Hornets are just too young right now to compete in the East. They're just going to be a very competitive team that needs some more talent. But I think MJ might look at this and say it might be time for a coaching change just to kind of scapegoat somebody in this situation. And I think the surprise person to keep an eye out for is Ty Lue of the Clippers. I don't really know what to expect from the Clippers. They are still load managing Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is going to have to be kind of on and off some nights because he's getting up there in age. And, honestly, it's just going to be a very different team. I know they're still competitive. They should still make the Western Conference playoffs. But remember 2 or 3 years ago when they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and they thought they were a super team? Patrick Beverley was crying because he's like, we got these two and we're going to win a championship. It's guaranteed. That fake tough guy that he is, that everything just shattered, because Luka Doncic just killed this team. And I don't know what's going on with the Clippers, but if things go really sour and they start selling off, some of these assets and trading, and maybe Kawhi Leonard is shut down for the year, I think you got to blame Ty Lue because he lost the team, and, you got to scapegoat somebody. So Ty Lue is on the hot seat. So I've seen a lot of talk about the new rule change where they're not going to blow the whistle on players that are looking to draw these fouls. And I'm actually glad they made that rule. I think it was much needed. It was just getting a little ridiculous with some of the stuff that the players were doing. And I don't always blame the players on this situation. I think they're just manipulating the game because, hey, it's in the rules. Until somebody changes it like they did this year, I don't blame these players for trying to get a couple of extra points here or there, whatever the case may be. They're just going to find a new way to get fouls called and stuff like that. So it's not really a big issue. But I know some people are saying that, James Harden's going to fall off. And I don't think this new rule is going to have a lot of impact on James Harden or Trae Young or Joel Embiid or Jimmy Butler. If out of those 4 players, if you ask me, I think Jimmy Butler is the guy whose points dip a little bit, below what he's used to, and he looks for fouls all the time. Like, he absorbs the contact and he wants to get to the free throw line. But there's so many stats where like Jimmy Butler's like looking for the same stuff, but everybody's just focusing on James Harden because he's just so outlandish with it, you know. So, but all that being said, I don't think it's gonna make any of these guys. I think they're all going to be within like 3 to 5 points with what they averaged last year. So, and for Harden and Joel and Trey, that's pretty good. But 3 to 5 points for Jimmy Butler like turns him from a 20-point scorer to a 15-point scorer. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know who needs to hear this, but De'Aaron Fox needs to make an All-Star game, and I think he will make an All-Star game this season. Okay. He's been snubbed. He's a great point guard, and it's not his fault that he can't carry a pathetic Sacramento team. And actually, I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be a very interesting team, and I think they're going to be a surprise this year, okay? I have them kind of in the play-in, like at the very last spot possible. But I think it's time, okay? We got to put De'Aaron Fox into the All-Star game. I'm sick of it. Sorry, Chris Paul. I know you're great and everything, but you've been there plenty of times. Give it to one of these young guys that deserves it too, okay? Last take for today. John Wall ends up back east. I think it's already been reported that the Rockets are going to try to find a new home for John Wall. It's just that he has so much money on his contract, like somewhere from I think almost $90 million over the next 2 years still owed to him. Now, I don't understand the NBA buyouts that they never discuss, like how they come to these terms. But a player like John Wall, who has a guaranteed $90 million, doesn't really need to get bought out unless he's really that hungry for a championship. And I'm not sure if he's there, to be honest. I think he wants to win a championship. I think he wants to help a team win a championship. I just don't know. $91 million is still a lot of damn money. But I think John Wall's going to end up back east somewhere. And I've got a few places where I think he would do great. I think it would be awesome for the Celtics. I think they need a true point guard. And honestly, like Schroeder compared to John Wall, Schroeder might be the better shooter and maybe a better scorer, but I think John Wall is a guy who's unselfish and is going to help out a person like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, push the ball, running pick and rolls with the Time Lord Robert Williams, get the ball to Al Horford for like pick and pops. So I think John Wall is a better passer, a better fit on that team. I just don't know if they want to absorb that type of money. The other teams, the Sixers, that's going to be a very tough one. That's going to involve something like possibly Ben Simmons, or, if you really want to make it complicated, you get Tobias Harris. But at that point, it's like John Wall and pieces for Tobias Harris and pieces. And it's going to be a little different in that situation. That's that. The surprise team could be the Brooklyn Nets, depending on the whole Kyrie situation, and maybe the Rockets just want to get out of the John Wall contract, but Brooklyn thinks that they can absorb this deal because they're already well over the luxury tax and everything else. So adding John Wall to this is just going to be anything. But I actually like the fit of John Wall. Again, the same situation, getting Kevin Durant and James Harden the ball. Good guy who can defend and run the break and, get the open ball to Joe Harris and all the other bigs on the team. I think it's not a bad fit, But again, money's going to be an issue. It's going to be complicated. We got to see what happens. But I think John Wall is going to come back east. And those are the 3 teams that I think look at him very closely. So 15 more down. I got, 45 more to go. Yeah, I had to do quick math right there. So until next time, guys, I will see you later. We are very close. We're about 4 days away from NBA tip-off, so I'm very excited for this. So, peace.